Hello, everyone. Welcome to another great Thursday night webinar. Actually, we don't normally do them on Thursdays. Normally, I think we do webinars on Tuesdays, but I'm glad you're here on this great Thursday evening. It's June 26th. If you're watching this sometime later after the fact, since this is streaming to YouTube Live. But thanks, everybody, for being here. I see everybody's a little active in the chat already. Get in there and say hello. We had more registrations than I thought for this webinar. I think we're closing in on 1,000. So good to see the interest. Good to see everybody here ready to roll. Well, why don't you introduce yourself to each other in the chat? I'll pull up some slides here in a minute. I've got these here like this, boom, that we can go through to do some learning tonight. If that's what you're here to do, we're going to talk about drone business, starting a drone business in 2025. The landscape is always changing. There's a couple of things that always remain true, and then there's some things that sort of change as time goes on. Best practices adopt, the landscape adopts or adapts, the competition changes. So we're going to talk about what it looks like here today. All right. So I see everybody telling us where they're from. I'm curious. Let us know in the chat. I'm curious two things. Number one, we'll start with this. Do you guys already have a Part 107 license? Are you a licensed commercial drone pilot already? Or are you sort of just looking at this drone thing and you're trying to figure out, if it's worth getting into? So first, let me know, do you have a Part 107 certificate, technically called a certificate, yet? And then I'll walk you through what we're going to be learning tonight. I saw a couple questions in here already. Will I be able to watch this back later? Yes, you should. It should go on YouTube under our past YouTube lives. So we'll probably just leave this up for you to view whenever you would like. So if you need to bail early, don't sweat it too hard. All right. Okay. We got a lot of yeses. Yes, yes. Some no's. Soon. No. Yes, yes. No. All right. I'm going to say looking like maybe 2/3 yes. 1/3 no. Hey, congrats. Passed on Tuesday. Exciting times. No, it's always stressful going into those testing centers, not knowing what you're gonna run into. Taking course now. All right. Okay. Required for a job. Sweet. Okay. So a lot of you have it. Some of you don't. That's okay. No problem here. Second question is, just briefly describe where you're at along your drone business experience. So maybe I have zero experience, don't have a drone business at all. Maybe number two would be I've got a drone business set up and maybe have gotten one or two clients. And then number three is kind of I do this regularly, have pretty consistent, clients and deal flow, if you will. Where are you at on that sort of spectrum there? Got some zeros, 1 year, building client base, a lot of zero, entry level, 0, novice. Let's see here. 0 experience, 0, no business, haven't started. A couple clients here and there. New business, building portfolio. No clients, looking for opportunities. Okay. Clients on board. Okay. So most of you all are at the newer end, I'd say, which is totally fine. And that's probably the best folks here tonight. If you already have a business that's banging and rocking, you're welcome to help everybody else out in the chat. But we're mainly focused on, hey, if you're starting from the beginning or you're thinking about getting into it, what to consider, how you might want to plan this out, how you could potentially land your first gig. Okay. No business. All right. Hey, what's up, Carrie? I remember you. Good to see you in here. All right. Oops. Okay. So I'll pull my slides up. Thank you all for giving me a lay of the land, where we're at, so we can see what's going on here. It helps me tailor my sort of advice and conversation to the group here. Okay. All right. I'm going to pull my slides up here and we're going to look through this. I'm going to try this, give it a little bit more room here. All right. So we're talking about how to launch a drone business. Maybe you say launch and grow a drone business in 2025, which is now. I just developed this thing called the drone framework. That is very clever, right? Drone. We'll walk through that here today. It essentially is a similar method that we've been teaching for the last 5 years or so that has proven to work well. but I just got a nice acronym around it now to maybe help you remember it a bit better. And by the way, I think I'm flying solo here for my team tonight. So if I don't see your like comment in the chat, I will do my best to get to it. We're gonna have Q&A stuff at the end, so we got plenty of time. So I apologize in advance if I don't see your comment, but I'm working the slides and doing the comment section here. Okay. All right. So if you don't know who I am, right? I'm assuming I know a lot of you all came from our email list, so you might know who I am. But if not, let me introduce myself. So my name is David Young. I'm a founder of a company called Drone Launch Academy. We've been around since 2016. Originally started off just as FAA test prep. It was a side hustle for me for a little while. I used to work as an accountant for the FBI. I was like a CPA in a former life. And then even before that, a former life, I wanted to be a commercial pilot. So I went on and got my pilot's license, decided to switch up career path-wise and go to a different school and all this stuff. Went to the FBI, became a CPA, did accounting stuff. And then while I was in the FBI, I kind of got back into drones around 2015 and got a couple other things. So I got my advanced ground instructor certificate right around 2016, I want to say, 2015 or 16. Got my private pilot certificate only back in 2007. And then I got this remote pilot certificate right when it came out in 2016. And I've owned businesses for the last 15 plus years. So Drone Launch Academy, I've done my own drone service business work over the years and gotten paid for gigs there. I've done, side consulting businesses with accounting. One time I tried to start a business where I was going to rent out knee scooters and ship them to people. A whole bunch of bad ideas that didn't work and some good ideas that have worked. So I've learned a lot over the years about just business in general. I've been in the drone industry for about 10 years. So I'm bringing these together to help you. Not only that, we have interviewed, I think now we're on like season 6 or 7 of the Drone to 1K podcast. And so interview some of the most successful drone entrepreneurs that are out there. And I can sort of bring together all their experiences and synthesize that for you here to show you what I'm seeing, what works, what doesn't work based on all these different successful people, right? Have you ever heard good business advice? It's don't try to reinvent the wheel from scratch. Look at what successful people do, copy them. Things work for a reason. So that's what we're going to do here today. Okay, so you are in the right place. If we've already talked about this a bit, but like you want to start a drone business, or just thinking about it, drone biz, or you've already started and you're struggling a little bit, right? And that's okay. No matter what business you start, I guarantee you will struggle because business is hard. No matter where you go, what you do, even if business is easy for a little bit, then it ends up becoming hard. One time I started a business and I thought, man, this isn't that bad. It was easy. I rode some wave for a couple months and then it got hard right after that. Then I started another business and it was terrible at first. And then I started like running some ads. Those ads worked. And I thought, man, I'm living high on the hog. This is easy. And then all the ads stopped working. So no matter what you're doing, you're going to run into roadblocks. You're going to have issues. Just expect it if you want to do entrepreneurship, even side hustles. All right. So you're in the right place. If you have like a 6-figure drone business, you probably won't get a ton out of this webinar, but I would like to talk to you about being on our Drone to 1K podcast and try to be helpful in the chat. So yeah, let's do this. All right, so here's tonight's agenda. We're going to go over what's the current state of the drone business, some good news and some bad news. I normally like bring in a bunch of like research reports and stats. I didn't do that this time. I'm just going to sort of give you my outlook as it stands now. I can give you the numbers that I remember off the top of my head from some of these research reports that we've been through. But then I just want to show you some positive things I see and some negative things I see and what that means for you. We're going to talk about why many drone businesses don't make it. I see so many people that have a desire to start a drone business. And really, it's kind of the same with any business. Why people start up and they just seem to struggle. Like I look at all these different cases of people being like, man, I just can't get clients, or like I'm going in here, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. It's just not working, right? You see things over and over again, and you see patterns, and I'm like, all right, well, what's the difference between those people? And then I have a bunch of friends who make a good living flying drones, but there's some key differences. And they either are very successful part-time, where they have a full-time job and they're doing something else part-time, or they're very successful full-time. And there's some big distinctions around if you want to do something with drones full-time, or if you're cool with just like part-time side hustle work. So that sort of flows into my next part. What I want to talk about is just the reality of full-time versus part-time. I know a lot of people that are like, I want to fly a drone full-time. And if that is your desire, I'm going to tell you about a couple ways that you can make that happen. There are really only a few avenues where that can work. But there's maybe more avenues that are drone specific part-time wise. I'm going to talk about what that is and how you can navigate either one of those depending on what you are doing. Then I'm going to walk through this drone framework. So each of these things means something. We'll walk through what they mean and how they can be beneficial to you. We'll talk about our Drone to 1K program. So we have our Drone to 1K podcast, and then we made like an actual program. It's like supposed to be an 8-week boot camp, but people go through it in longer time period if you want, on how this framework works and teaching you a lot more in depth and giving you templates and resources and things like that. So anytime we do a webinar, if you've been on these before, you know at the very end, we just throw out a deal on whatever relevant course matches up with what we're teaching. So if you want to get in on that, you can, but no pressure. This is not going to be a pitch fest. We're going to just learn about drone business. And then in the Q&A, I promised on the registration page that I would talk about these things. So I'm happy to talk about all this in the Q&A. I'll go over what are the best industries right now to get into. I can talk about gear recommendations, software, and then any other questions you want. I know there's already been there's things been popping up. Okay. All right. So that is our agenda for tonight. Does that sound good? If it does, let me take a sip of my cold brew. I have a habit of anytime I prepare for like one of these trainings, I always got to go to Starbucks. I get a cold brew, I sit down, I'll do my slides, get ready, and I go straight to my office and we dive in. So here's my cold brew. Cheers. Let's do it. Okay. This is what we're going to go over in the Q&A. Sorry. I was just telling you. Okay. So how is the drone industry doing right now? I'm going to talk about growth trends, patterns I see in adoption, what opportunities there are in the different like types of businesses. So growth trends. There's all these different websites. If you go like, what's the projected growth of the drone industry? You just see a lot of these people trying to sell these large marketing or let's say market survey reports, try to sell it to you for like $2,000 or something, all these deep dive reports. It's hard to know how accurate they are because I don't know, like they base their data on all different things, but you can sort of take a look across a lot of the different ones and sort of get an idea, aggregate together, and you can kind of compare that to, well, what are they saying about maybe other industries? So generally, I see these forecasts projecting and I'm talking about just the drone services business market. I think that's why we're here today. I don't think anyone's here to like open up a drone retailer and start selling drones per se, but I'm talking about drone services market. So you want to be a pilot and you want to operate a drone, a UAS for some company or some enterprise to make money. That is generally forecasted around like 15 to 25% per year compounding. So every year growing about 15% on top of itself. That's actually a very good growth rate for these industries. That ends up looking, like the charts you see where it does kind of like this. And this is usually over like a 10-year period. Now, I think they're baking a lot of things into that, like, beyond visual line of sight rules, changing and opening up. That's going to open up a lot of new industries and then more adoption coming. So that leads into the next point, adoption. I've looked at a lot of this lately, specifically on like the data side. So when I say data, I mean, I'll get to that in a sec, but more like looking at it for using drones to collect data. So to use it in surveying, engineering, inspection work, 3D modeling, digital twins, that's that kind of universe. So Drone Deploy does a cool report. If you guys want to look it up, it's called State of Reality Capture. State of Reality Capture. So you can look at that report. I think they're about to come out with their new one. But the last one showed like major adoption, especially among like enterprise companies specifically for like reality capture. So when they say reality capture, it's, digitizing something in the real world, bringing it into a model, computer model for inspection, things like that. It was like 80%, like most companies that are large are already adopting reality capture and drone technology. And I think the ones that were using it, most were planning on increasing their budget for those technologies. like 20% were projected to like keep their same budget. And I think it was only like single digit percentages planned on decreasing their spending in that area. So companies are definitely heavily invested in this. If you know Drone Launch Academy, the way we do our courses and our instructors, we go out to the industry and we find other industry professionals to teach our courses, because we want people who are doing this day in and day out to actually teach the courses, not just a bunch of armchair experts. So even in our Drone to 1K course, I get a 6-figure drone business owner, Cody Retlick, to come in and teach a bulk of those lessons, because he's lived and breathed it a lot more than I have, even though I have, plenty of business experience. I want to bring someone who's even closer to the action. But we just released some new mapping courses earlier this year, and all of those guys, a lot of them, they work in the industry, and he's talking about, hey, we're using drones more and more and more internally, and also hiring pilots externally. So there's that. Then opportunities. What the opportunities are, again, as businesses are realizing, hey, drones are good and helpful. It used to be years ago, you'd have to like really explain, okay, here's what the drone can do. I can get up here and I can tell you, you can see from this vantage point. It's like they've never seen a drone before half the time. That is changing. You do still have to do some education, and you got to show and really sell it. But it's much more commonplace now. It's not so like, oh wow, what is this? What can it do? Or people, the kind of blinders are coming off a little bit. And then the types of business, I like to split these out right into two. So data, like I talked about, but then there's also still creative. So I put creative as in like, you have like a media production company, or, real estate media. You can put like FPV in here for like those like video fly-throughs. And this could be like either one of those. These involve both. Even like some like photography stuff, regular drone photography. That's sort of the creative elements and aspects. And there's still, I still know people that are successful there. Although I think maybe the bigger upside in the future is on this data end. Okay. So that's where I see the drone industry right now. I definitely see more and more use coming out of it. Obviously there's some, bummer stuff going on, in my opinion, at least, with DJI and the threat of, DJI getting banned in the US. But that is just sort of on the provider option and not necessarily on the demand for services side of things. Okay. All right. If you have questions, again, you can toss them in there. I'll try to get to them as we go, but I'm working both sides here. Okay. So some good news and some bad news. I just pulled this off of, Google. So the FAA, they updated their numbers. I think the most recent one was as of April. So this was like 2 months ago. There are almost 500,000 certified Part 107 pilots. So 444,000 Part 107 pilots. That's a lot. And so the good news is, right, that, my pencil changed. Come on, here we go. The good news is that adoption is up, and I think opportunities are up, right? And so the market is expanding. You see like the growth rates are good. It's a growing industry. But whenever you have a growing industry, right, people see opportunity, everybody wants to get in on it. So the bad news is there are a lot of people here, right? You're competing with, 444,000 people. Now, I don't want you to get discouraged and be like, oh my gosh, there are 444,000 people. How can I ever compete? Quantity does not equal quality. The Part 107 is just a checkbox, right? It is not, doesn't give any indication of how well you can fly a drone. Doesn't it give any indication of how good you are at offering any type of service? It means, can you memorize some information about weather, airspace, and regulations, and a couple other topics, and then pass 60 questions? That's it. So you can do this legally. So a lot of people get bummed out and they're like, oh, there's so many drone pilots, and how do I compete, and how do I stand out? So that's what we're going to talk about. If there are 444,000 people, how do you stand out? And actually, how are you the one that, gets these opportunities? Because again, when I see people say like, I'm really struggling, and then I look over and I see other people who are like doing really well. Like one of my friends who's got a drone business, he made the most money he's ever made last year. And then another guy, he uses, when I say drone business, I mean a business that uses drones. And I'll get into more of this distinction in a minute. Oh, I'm still here. My camera decides it wants to like reset every 30 minutes. There you go. Yeah, I mean, they're making multi 6 figures, doing anything from real estate to roof inspections or working with surveyors. And so, and even, yeah. So like both sides of the creative and data. So I'm like, what are they doing versus these people who are struggling? And I've thought about it, and we'll talk about it. Okay. So I just wanted you to show good news, bad news. Don't freak out. So this might be a horrible example, but I just thought about it. Like having a drone license, again, this is not gonna make any sense, maybe to some of you, but I'll say it's like having something called, what if there was something called a hammer license? And you're like, I've got a license. What if the government was like, hey, no one's allowed to use a hammer or a screwdriver unless you have a license. You're a licensed professional, just because we don't want people out there throwing hammers around without, knowing the rules. And so you're like, all right, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get a hammer license. Would you be I guess two questions. Number one, would you think that, oh, I'm going to go out, all I got to do is get this hammer license and I'm just going to go get jobs as a carpentry jobs. People are going to start hiring me, right and left, and I'm going to be loaded because I got this hammer license. Would you think that? And then number two, would you be threatened by other people? Like, oh my gosh, everybody's got a hammer license. How am I going to compete? No, it's just obvious. That means kind of nothing when it comes to how successful you are in a business setting, right? If you're going to be an entrepreneur, a business, whether side hustle, full-time, whatever, you're going to be like, no, what matters is my skills, how good I am, how many people know about me. Can I deliver on my work? People want what I have to offer, right? These are the things that matter, not whether or not you have a hammer license or somebody else has a license. I just sometimes think people view the Part 107 a little bit more in an elevated way than they should, as far as what it does for them or how it hurts them as far as how many other people there are. Okay. So let's lead into my next point. Why do so many drone businesses, and most of the businesses are just, solo folks like you or me, wanting to go out there and do some entrepreneurship? Why do they not make it? Okay. And I've thought about this. And I think there's two things that you really need to be good at, or to understand, or to make it. You need to have sort of like what I'll call like the drone skill, drone, or like industry, we'll call it industry skill. Like this is how good you are at that thing. And then you need to have like business skills and knowledge. And over here, I'd put like, subheading of like, drive, perseverance, some of these traits, right? To not give up. You need that. You have to have this, the crossover of these. These are the people who are good. I see a lot of people, to be honest, I see some people who get into this and they have neither, or they lie to themselves and tell themselves that they're wonderful drone operators. Like, yeah, man, I can go out and take pictures. Like, look at these pictures. Isn't that great? And they don't, they don't accurately assess, okay, is this good quality? Like, am I going to be able to compete with this quality of work that I have? Now, there are some people on the flip side who are just really self-deprecating, and they're like, oh, I'm never going to be good enough. So they never actually get out and do anything. That's not helpful either. But you have to have some level of skill. But even when people have this, I feel like people can understand that they need this. But then once they get this, they think that that is the only ingredient required to be successful. And it's not at all. I mean, literally 50%, at least 50% of the success. I would almost wager to say that more than 50% of your success is dependent on your business skills and knowledge and this side of the equation. Do you know how to get customers? Do you know how to get attention in a good way? Like get people to know about you? Do you know how to, sell to someone? And I'm not talking about like doing some Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street sales techniques. Like, can you talk to a human being, listen to them about their needs, speak to what they, need, and how what you offer relates to that, and see if you can do a deal, right? Like it's not rocket science. It's usually just relationships. So you need this combination. Most people don't have this because it's not like a W-2 job. It's not like, hey, I'm here, I showed up, I did what was asked of me, and and it's not working. Like you have to continually learn. You have to continually iterate, try new things. Stuff's not going to work. You got to switch it up. You have to continue to move down the path of testing and reaching out. You're going to reach out to 100 people and 4 people are going to respond to you. Some people reach out to 5 people and go, I got no responses. This industry just too tough. I can't do it. So you got to understand the game here. All right. Okay. That's all I have to say about that. I can get into more of that later, but I could talk about that for a while. Okay. Next, Full-time versus part-time. I'm curious in the chat, who wants to do a drone business full-time versus who's looking at doing it cool with just like part-time? Let me know. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee here while you're answering. There's no wrong answers. So we got part-time, full-time, part. I was trying to get like a percentage here. Okay, looks like part-time, seasonal, maybe 50-50 split, maybe a little bit leaning more towards part-time. Some people saying part-time, but would love to replace the full-time gig. Part to full. Okay, part-time. Cool, full-time after. Okay. All right. I'm going to draw a line down here. All right. So here's what I see. You know, sometimes I want to, I'm just trying to be real with you guys. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer or anything. Sometimes people expect to have full-time job income off of just drones. They think they can get a drone and they think that they can only use that drone and they can go out and take pictures or videos or, you know, fly over construction sites or whatever. And they think that they can do that, just use that tool and make a full-time living. And from what I've seen, that is not, I have not seen that to be successful in the entrepreneurial side of things, unless you're going to like build out a network of pilots and you get like a really large reach to where you have the scale to do a lot of different jobs and you can deploy people in a lot of different places. I only say that because most jobs that are out there, the drone is a tool that is a part of some other process, some other workflow. So I'll tell you the people that I know that have full-time jobs that or full-time businesses, sorry, not businesses, full-time businesses that utilize a drone. All right. So one of them is works with engineers and surveyors. Okay. He helps them start up drone programs, but he also flies all their photogrammetry for them. But he uses that, but he also has to know how to use some survey equipment. He has to know how to do all of the mapping processing. He has to know a lot of geospatial knowledge, a lot of knowledge about geodesy and about survey techniques, right? He doesn't just know how to fly a drone or how to just program a flight and hit go. So a lot of you think, oh, as long as I know how to fly the drone, or maybe I know how to program the flight mission and hit go, I'm valuable. You have to always go beyond that if you want to do some type of full-time business. Someone else I know, I mentioned earlier, commercial roof inspections. Okay. Started off doing a little bit of everything. Started off doing a little, video promos for car dealerships and shooting for this business here, and then some thermography over here. But eventually got his thermography certification, started honing in on that area a bit, and then realized, oh, there's some potential here, but these people want more than just me flying around with a drone. In order to do this job completely, I need to know how to get up on the roof and take a core sample. I need to know how to assess the condition of the roof. I need to know how to work with a roof consultant. I need to know all these other things about roofs, about moisture penetration, about all these different, things that now he's got the drone. He's got a handheld FLIR thing. He's got other tools. He's got some like moisture mapping equipment. He's very well versed in photogrammetry. He knows how to write up full roof condition reports. He got another roof certification, and he has a very successful business doing that. Another one I know, this guy makes hundreds of thousands of dollars. I know it's hard to believe. Real estate media, all right? Now, he didn't just start off with a drone, but he uses a drone. I know some people say like, oh, I want to do drones for real estate. There's not enough. It's the way the way the business works right now. There's no real estate agents out there necessarily that are like, I just need to find a drone pilot. They're like, I wanted someone to come take pictures of this property, and I don't want to find multiple people. I just like to hire one person. So they're going to find one person to take the photos, maybe do the videos, and fly the drones. Now, you could potentially work alongside a real estate photographer who maybe doesn't have a drone license and fly the drones for them, but that's going to be fewer and far between. And I've never seen someone been able to get enough work to fill up a full-time job doing that. So you're like, I like real estate. Cool. Just go all in on real estate. You're going to take pictures and videos with the drone anyways. It's the same concepts. A camera is attached to a drone. Now you're going to have a handheld camera, same concepts on the ground, right? Shutter speed, ISO, frame rates, editing. You're going to do it all anyways. Do it on the ground. Also learn how to do floor plans and 3D walkthrough tours, things like that, right? So the full-time people I know, again, they start businesses that specifically serve an industry, and they use whatever tools are required, which include drones. A lot of them got into it through drones, but then they're using other tools like, on here, you're going to have to use like GNSS receivers. And these things, they're expensive. Now, luckily, Root, he's got the survey company has a lot of their own gear, expensive gear. This one's got his own like handheld FLIR stuff. I already mentioned that. So that's that. On another time, if you're not looking to be an entrepreneur, I know we're talking about business today. I have seen more jobs. If you're like, I just want to fly, there are more full-time jobs popping up just for pilots that are part of drone programs of companies. So I know several people who they go and they're like, I'm a drone pilot at this company. I know like the Alabama Department of Transportation. I talked to their drone program director, U.S. director, super nice guy. And I ran him at AUVSI. And he's like, yeah, we're hiring, drone pilots right out of high school. We'll train them up. We teach them how to do all this stuff. Now they end up doing all the data capture and things for like 3D models. But a lot of times they just do videos and photos, but they have enough work because they're the Alabama Department of Transportation that they go all around the state and they just fly drones constantly, right? I got another buddy. He sent me a video today. He's like, I can't believe I get paid to do this. He's got a full-time job and he's out there flying drones in Arkansas and West Virginia today. So that can happen, but a lot of times those are full-time jobs with big companies who like have large footprints. Okay. But again, even those require other knowledge. Like a lot of those folks need sort of that geospatial knowledge as well. All right. With that, part-time, there's a lot of opportunity to do this part-time in a lot of different fields if you just want to do drones. So if you go back and you listen to our podcast, there are a lot of people who are like, yeah, I've got a full-time job and I just do this on the side and I make, $1,000 a month, or I make $4,000 a month. I've talked to a lot of people who do that and they're happy with that. Or maybe they're retired and like, I don't necessarily want to make a full-time gig out of this. I like flying my drone around and I want to do that. Again, my full-time job is running Drone Launch Academy and our other company, Drone Launch Learning. And I still get hit up for jobs. I mean, I literally passed off a job last week. That was a $550 job to film for like a ribbon cutting ceremony. And they wanted drone footage of something. And I was like, it was on a bad day. I was like, I don't have time to do this. So I passed it off to my friend. So that's technically like part-time work. Now I'm not getting hit up with those 6 times a day. So now maybe if I had a video production company and I wanted to, oh yeah, that's another one, video production. Now, if I had a video production company and I could do all sorts of different types of jobs, not to only include drone, that would open up those doors for me, right? But over here on the part-time work, you can do so much stuff from just like photos, like licensing, like video clips. If you wanted to just be the drone guy for like a real estate shooter, there's options there. You could do just like, hey, I just take some construction photography. There are tons of jobs that pop up on these like drone job networks. Again, they usually pay fairly low, but we'll talk about that in a minute on how to utilize that. So that, there's a lot of options if you just want to do part-time, and I'll show you some examples again from people who have taken some of our courses before that I see that as very successful. So it's very realistic to think, yeah, I can make a few $1,000s doing this. One of my favorite ones was one of the more recent Drone to 1K episodes we had. There was a guy on there, I think Matt Nugent. He's a police officer, and he started doing this on the side, and he started getting more into mapping and stuff, and he made great money. I think he said his average months were like $4,000 or $5,000 on average, and he had one month right before that episode that was 20 grand, and he was very clear to be like, that's a more rare instance. I got just like a really big job that came up, but still consistent making like $4,000. I know another guy was like a federal employee, and he posted a lot just on Instagram. It was very consistent. And, I was like, what's your average month? He's like, nah, normally like 2,000 or 3,000. I could have more, but I just don't want to like kill all my weekends with stuff. So it is possible to do that part-time if you just want to do sort of like the drone flying. Okay. All right. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense on where your full-time and part-time opportunities lie. All right. So let's get into the drone framework. So number one, or develop, refine, optimize, network, engage. Like they just picked literally 5 buzzwords to fill those in, but they do mean something, and we're going to get into them right now here. Okay. So the first thing, D for develop. So what we're going to do is we're going to develop skills and a portfolio foundation. So when someone is looking to hire a service provider, you got to put yourself in the shoes of someone who's looking to hire someone. If they're looking to hire people who, let's pick an example. I'm a construction manager, and I'm like, oof, the company who's building this is in California, and this job is in Virginia. They want updates on this stuff. I really need someone just to like take pictures of the site every 2 weeks and maybe give me some other, kind of information of what's going on. I should hire someone. They're like, I don't know what to do. Either they're going to go, who do we know that does this? They might ask around for referrals from other construction companies that they know, or they might even just go, I don't know, let's just find a local guy. Let's hop on Google and see if we can find someone to do it. Now, when they look at that, what are they going to go? They're going to go, hey, I'm just going to click on the first person I see, and it doesn't matter their quality. We're just going to go with them. No, they're going to go, who can I find that is not going to screw this up for me? They look trustworthy. I can evaluate some of what they have to see if I am comfortable with them, because they're going to be a reflection of me, because I'm going to take their work, pass it on to people, or post it. And if it's bad, I'm going to look bad. So it's a risk, right? So they're trying to mitigate their risk. So when you first start out, you probably don't have any skills if you're just starting, and you probably don't have any portfolio. So you need to develop those skills and portfolio. How do you do that? Do that by flying as much as you can, practicing, and then you start building a portfolio. And you don't have to have paying clients to build a portfolio. You just have to go, what do I like doing? And I'm going to start, so a lot of people are just like, I'm just going to start. Pictures are the easiest thing to start. I'm going to start doing pictures, maybe edit some photos, see how that goes, post it on Instagram. At this point, you're not like out there posting on Instagram going like, oh gosh, I hope someone sees this and just books me for $1,000 gig. Like that's likely not going to happen right away. You're just trying to practice, get your stuff out there, get comfortable, and get something so that if you do get an opportunity, somebody has something to look at, because drones are such a visual thing. Everybody's going to say first thing, hey, well, do you have any work examples that I could look at? No matter what product you're selling. Hey, can I see what it looks like? Can I get a demo? Can I see, how you can help me? So if you have nothing to show, it's hard for them to evaluate, is this going to be a good fit? So work on developing that portfolio and that foundation. So you're going to need to get some examples. So if you want to do it in real estate, start taking pictures of your own house. If you want to go into construction, you don't have to fly over a construction site to take pictures of a construction site. So go find one. They're everywhere. Get up there, go on the side, maybe wait till there aren't people there if you don't want to bother people. Make sure your airspace is, clear and everything. Take those photos, right? So D, develop your skills and foundation, all right? So R is for refine. So now you get out there, see what you like. I want to say one thing real quick on develop. You want to test out different niches. So the goal, if you want to be successful, is to find an area that you can really invest your time and energy into understanding an industry. That's where you're really going to make the most money and make the most impact. So first, do a lot of everything. Go try a little bit of construction stuff, taking pictures of that, maybe do some video, see if you can get your, oh, my friend's getting married, or there's a kid's birthday party. Let me get some video for you of that. People like their stuff documented. Test out different things, see what you like doing, whether it's data stuff, inspection work, the creative side of things. Get out there and test stuff out. Now, I will say, I want to do a caveat here. I tell people some drone job networks I think are okay. That is not going to be the way for you to build your business. So don't be like, oh yeah, I can just go out there on these drone job networks and make a bunch of money. No, I say you need to practice. So if you're going to practice, you might as well check these sites to see if there are gigs. If there are gigs near you that you want to do, go for it. You might as well get paid to practice, but do not count on making money from these types of gigs, right? So we have some of these listed, and let me show you real quick. I was going to show you, we talk about this in our, here we go, the Drone to 1K course. All right, so paid to practice. Well, real quick, the structure of this is we give you some stuff before you start to get your mindset right. But the goal is when you get going, you want quick wins, quick losses. So you want to go out there, the best thing to do is maybe try to get a paid job as quickly as you can, even if it's just like a couple bucks. Right. So we say get paid to practice, do some drone job networks. So we have some drone pilot networks here. Not all of them are drone pilot networks. Some of them are just like job networks. So like Thumbtacks, they have a lot of like photographers on there. And so you can get on there as a drone pilot. We know people who have had a lot of success with Bark. You kind of like buy some credits, and you can then take those credits and bid on jobs really quickly. There's a way to do it where if you go really quick, you get the lead. And, I know there's a guy, I think his name's, oh gosh, I almost screwed up. I think it's Jeremy on the Drone to 1K podcast. He built his whole like side business on Bark, and he was, he landed like $10,000 jobs. And I don't want to set unrealistic expectations. This was after a while, but he landed like good jobs off of Bark. Now he was good at what he does, obviously, right? There's other things in here. So go out here, see if there's anything there for you. I'm not going to say that this is 100% going to work for you, but there are people out there where you can get these gigs and you can get paid to practice. And it probably feels good to be like, I have a drone, I got paid for something. I just want to give you like a quick win. And then we also say quick losses, as in we want you to sort of face your fears. So we have some assignments in here. The way this works is we have some assignments where you have to go through and like, randomly call someone you don't know and just introduce yourself to them and what you're doing, and just say, hey, here's why I'm reaching out. I just want to introduce myself and get to know some people. So we have some scripts in here, so you kind of conquer your fear and talking to people you don't know. But that's what I would say there. Let me get back to my slides. So you want to conquer your fear of rejection, maybe try to quick win, because the problem is if people go too long without ever getting a win, right? You just feel like I'm constantly building, constantly working. You get discouraged and you're just like, I'm going to quit this because I'm not really seeing any results. So you want to get a little bit of results to do it, right? So I know some people in some areas, people have not had success with Bark, and I've seen in other service areas, people had a lot of success with Bark. I will say this, that when you do something like that, you got to be like the first person to respond, or else it usually doesn't work that well, right? Okay. Okay. I know a lot of you are like poo-pooing on, consolidators. I'm not saying you guys continue to work for them, but if you want to get paid to practice, they're there, whether you're there or not. So might as well get paid little bits if you want. It's a good stepping stone, and I know that people who have done that successfully. All right, so the next thing you refine. So you want to refine your niche. So like narrow down on what you're going to do and service focus. So once you've tasted a little bit of everything, maybe you do some drone job network stuff, maybe you get a taste around of what's out there, try to pick your niche and dive in. That's when you want to start learning more about what is this person's, the customer in this area, like what is their problem? What's their lingo? You really want to understand like how, I mean, it sounds dumb, but like how this customer talks. Like in an everyday sense, like when they're sitting around during the day, like what are they complaining about? What's the terminology they use? So that way, if you have prior industry experience, that's really helps, because you know the problems in the lingo and where you can help. Okay. So I see some people that are like, yeah, I've worked in the construction industry for X number of years. I know what it's like. I know who to talk to. I've already got contacts. Great. So that helps a lot. And we have some exercises too, where it's like, hey, here's how to identify your warm leads and your like warm areas that you might have contacts in an industry. But I would recommend you focus in on a specific industry, and then you can work on that, because later, as you do things like maybe put a website together, or you're going to put together an outreach plan to go talk to people to do business with them, you can't be like, all right, I'm going to put an outreach plan together for real estate agents and construction managers and banks for like other their videos about their services, and bake some cool drone shots into their promos that they're doing. Like they're too much split focus. You got to like really lock in on one type of customer and understand them really, really well, because there's a lot in that. It takes a while. So, all right. So refine your focus, lock in, figure out, what do I like? Some people just don't like certain things. So like, what do I like? Ask yourself some questions. What's in my area? Sometimes I've seen people that are like, oh man, we have some different drone pilot communities, and a lot of people are like, oh man, I'm crushing it with real estate. This is so good, and so everybody thinks, oh, I got to get into real estate. And they go to do that in their area, and they're like, oh, I don't know, I can't make it work here in this area. like I've been trying this for a year. The real estate market's dead here, or like there's one agent and, they don't like photographers or whatever it may be. But then they go, I'm going to try to do, help surveyors, and they flip over to that. And like, I really enjoy this. And then it takes off. So I've seen it go both ways, where someone started off doing like mapping inspection work, and they're like, that died, and they had a lot of success in real estate. And then I've seen the other way around too. So you kind of have to test that out and see with your area, what you like, what kind of prior experience you have, and then, what kind of customer that you understand, right? So that's R for refine. All right. So then once you refine your services, now you're going to optimize your portfolio and your online presence. The biggest thing here is about become findable. Unfortunately, it's not always the best person that wins. It's not the best product that wins. It is the one who is the most known, the most prominent, that gets the most attention. Now, you can't have a bad product. Typically, you got to be good, but there's probably a lot of people who are good, right? So if there are several people who are at, if these are different service levels of people who are at decent quality, right? And there's several people up here, right? The ones of these that are actually going to get the business are the ones that have the most attention and are findable. So when someone goes to Google and they type in, construction photos, Jacksonville, Florida, who comes up? Do they see your Google business listing? Do they see your website? Is the AI quick summary saying, hey, here are a couple of providers in your area? Findable also means, referable. And that'll come later, a little bit more later. But referable and trustworthy. So when someone sees your stuff, your online presence, they find you online, or they find you through a network of, other professionals, then they're going to go check you out. All right, I found this person. Now, do I trust them? Are they good? So that's where to look at your portfolio. So you want to optimize your portfolio to get rid of the things you don't want. So again, I keep going back to construction, but we'll go to real estate. If I go to real estate, I'm a real estate agent. I'm like, I want to hire a really good real estate photographer because I've got this banging listing and I want to really impress my, clients that I have. And they go to your website and they see a bunch of pictures like birthday parties. And then they see you like on an engineering, or like construction job site. They're going to be like, oh, this is not the person I want, because they're not really focused. If somebody's going to be really good at something, they're going to like be really focused on it. I sometimes use the example of, people want the best. Many of you know, I had open heart surgery 2 years ago for some genetic thing, right? And I'm like, oh shoot, this is like a major surgery, and I'm not going to go to my, general practice doctor and say, hey, you guys think you can do this? I didn't even go to Lakeland, where I'm from. They have cardiologists and cardiac surgeons in Lakeland Regional Hospital. I didn't go to them and say, hey, I've got this very specific heart condition and this very specific procedure where you have to cut out extra heart tissue that I have. You guys think you can knock that out for me? Heck no. I went online. I started searching around like best cardiac surgeon for myectomy, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is what I have. So I'm like, all right, who's that? And I found this one guy who had written a bunch of research papers, and he was cited in all these things. He had done this surgery 3,000 times, and he was in Cleveland at Cleveland Clinic. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to that guy, because when I started searching for who's the best at this, that guy came up, and I'm like, so obviously I'm going to go to him. If I had saw that he also does, plastic surgery and, repairs people's wrists like orthopedic surgeon, I was like, no, not my guy. He's too spread out. So people want the best at what is being offered, because that's going to be the least risk for them. Because my risk was, I want someone to screw this up and kill me or something. So I want lower risk. People don't want to look stupid. People want their bosses to be happy. So they're like, how do I lower my risk? Find somebody who's specialized and good at this, right? So that's why you need to optimize portfolio, so you look like the professional, you elevate yourself, and you need that online presence so that you can get found. Free tip for you all. If you have a business and you have not set up like the Google business profile, do that now. That is very simple. Since it's Google and someone searches, they will prioritize those Google business profiles. Fill it out, put some of your photos on there, fill your information out, get some people to leave you reviews, maybe do some, free jobs for someone. Say, hey, I'd love to do this for you. Leave me an honest review about what you think about it, because Google will prioritize people who have reviews too. So when you go to a website and you type in drone services, let me see if I can do one right here, and I'll just show you guys. like real estate. I'll type real estate, drone photos. I'll share this with you in a sec. Lakeland, Florida. All right, hold on. So let me share my other screen with you. And I'm still here. My camera decided to do this thing. All right. So I scroll past the ads and stuff, and I get here, businesses. Who comes up first? This person. They got 52 reviews, and they've got a filled out thing. And I actually know this guy. This is one of the people who makes good money doing real estate photography in our town, and he does drone photos. His name is called Drone Elevations. Started off doing drones, and then went, oh, you know what? I need to do full real estate. So then he expanded into like full real estate photography. He's right there. Next person has the next amount of reviews. It's right there. And so you can see this guy's got reviews on Yelp. He actually shows up as the #1 thing here too. So obviously if I see him here, he's the #1 here and here. I'm going to go, shoot, I'm going to click on that guy and probably get used. So that's why he gets business, because he's very findable. And then obviously the reviews look like he's trustworthy. And it does not take a long time to set this up with your phone number. Obviously getting reviews takes time, getting those over time. All I typed in was real estate drone photos, Lakeland, Florida. So you can set that up in a few minutes. I know people who had taken our, Drone to 1K course. They went and set that up, and they really didn't have any reviews, and they didn't even really have a whole lot of stuff up there. And they're like, oh yeah, somebody hit me up for, engagement photos, and they paid me $200. So I'm telling you, people find it and can get business for you there. All right. Let's keep moving. Next one. Sorry. Going back and forth between the screen sharing is not as seamless. All right. Next one, network. So if you've got, first we've tested the waters, we've picked our niche and honed in, we've optimized our portfolio and our services, we've refined and we've optimized to show what we want. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to network. This is going out and meeting people. Service business, again, very relational. So if you have your online stuff teed up, looking good, now you want to go out and network. Well, where do I go out and network? There's some general places you can go, like, Chamber of Commerce types of meetings. I've done those over the years. Somewhat helpful, not always the best. A lot of times, really good things are things like BNI, like Business Networking International, I think it's called. They put you into groups, and there's only like one type of person in each group, so that can be fruitful. I know people who have done that. But I think where you really are going to get a lot of bang for your buck and a better experience is go to industry specific conferences. That's where I've gotten a lot of helpful thing. Industry specific conference. So somebody throw out like a niche that they want to be in, or like an area of, try to be very specific about an area you want to serve or that you do serve. Telecom inspections. Beautiful. All right. There's definitely telecom. I think it's called, I have a buddy who serves the telecom industry. Let me see if I can pull it up. All right. So I would literally search telecom industry conferences. You want to go where your customers are and try to make it very, very specific. All right. Where am I at? I have a buddy. He went to a commercial roofing, the roofing guy, Commercial Roofing Contractors Association of Central Florida. Okay, like very regional, very specific. Those can be great. There, he got a lead for like a big orange juice company, like manufacturing plant, and he convinced them to say, "Hey, let me just do one building. Pay me for one job on one building. See what I can find." Because it was like shortly after hurricane, and they liked it, and then they expanded it to a bunch of other buildings to turn into this great contract. Okay. So telecom industry conferences. All right. Maybe let's do USA. Top 10 telecom industry events, trade shows. Or I could do this. I'm in Florida. I mean, there's always so many like regional ones. Another one is like if you want to serve surveyors and do mapping stuff. Every state has like a state association of surveyors. You can go to their conference, check it out. 33rd Annual Media, Internet, Telecom Conference, Trade Show, Telecom Events, or you could do like tower, like tower telecom, because sometimes it's like more with towers and stuff, like Tower Exchange Americas 2025. So this is in Florida. So here's one, Tower Exchange Meetup, exclusive meeting place for America's telecom tower industry. Look at all these people there. These are all these huge tower companies. So what you do, number one, you're going to learn a ton about the industry. So again, you know how your customer speaks, you know what they do, and you can tell people about who you are, what you do. I think the biggest benefit is you're going to go there and listen, and you can hear about the different problems, and your mind's going to start working. Ooh, how can I help them with this? I know my tools, I know my skill set. You're going to learn, oh, what do I need to learn more about? Where do I need to brush up my skill set? Or what do I, how can I talk to these people in a language they understand? Okay. So you're going to go here, you're going to meet a ton of people, try to make meaningful connections, and then follow up with people afterwards. Hey, I'd love an opportunity to, be able to help you with this project or whatever. Even when you go at first, if you don't land any clients, you're going to learn a lot, but I would continue to go. And as you learn, you can test out the things you're learning and try to refine your skills. And then at a certain point, your skills are going to be good enough. Craft your portfolio. You meet someone, talk to them. They're going to be like, oh, wow, this person seems knowledgeable. They seem helpful. They're going to go to your website, check it out. Oh, he's got a portfolio of things that looks like it's what I do. Yeah, let's use them. I'm telling you, it'll work. This stuff just takes time. Okay. We could do another one. Let's see what else. Oh, wait, was I not? Oh my gosh. I was on this tab the whole time. Guys, I'm sorry. Let me show you the tab I was looking at. This is the tab I was looking at. My bad. Tower Exchange Meetup, exclusive meeting place for Americas. This is what I was looking at earlier, right? I was describing all these things. You guys are probably, what the heck is this dude talking about? Yeah. It's like all these different tower companies, all these different things you'll learn, 200 decision makers that are there. So go to these. Just if you're scared to like really put yourself out there, at least just go and listen and meet people. And just, if someone says, oh, hey, who are you with right here? Hey, I just started up this company. We want to serve the telecom industry. I'm a little bit on the newer side, so I'm here to learn, absorb information like a sponge. It's great meeting you, right? Just be upfront with people. That people like authenticity and honesty. Okay. One more. Quantity surveys for excavation companies. That's a great one. So let's look at like Earthworks conferences, Florida 2025. I'm just saying Florida because that's where I am, but you could do where you are. Earth Fest. Maybe this is not what I want. You could just say excavation. North America excavation shoring. It's going to be in Clearwater Beach. Boom. If I'm in the excavation world, I'm going to this. I don't know if this is what you want. You're gonna have to like search through them, but find Earthworks excavation, or you could even find like that's more like in the construction world. So you could find like central. I'm in Central Florida. Central Florida construction or builders, right? You can get in there that network and find out that type of area. So, gosh, I know it. All right, so that's what I would do. Go to events. It's one of the highest ROI things that I've done over my career as a business owner, just from a learning your customer standpoint, invaluable, and just industry connections, right? Some of the other things we teach you how to do is also to engage people. Let's go to the next one. So network, don't put so much pressure on yourself. Like, I got to land business. Usually this is like step one of like build a relationship. And then you can be like, how do I take this to the natural, like next step, which would be engage. That's the E of drone, right? So engage. So as you engage, it's proactive outreach for people. So now you have friends in the industry. You want to engage with them. So there's so many ways you can do outreach and engagement. So you can literally just do like email outreach. You can do this in a non-spammy way that actually works pretty well. We actually did we taught a new section of the course and taught people live over 3 weeks how to do email outreach, how to find contacts. We gave them the entire email structure templates of like, here's what to say, how to say it, get some social proof, get some responses. We gave them assignments. They went and did it, and they came back and like, yeah, I had like 4 people respond to me and say that they'll talk to me or set up a meeting with me or let me come out and do some demos for them. So this will work. You can do email outreach, one of my favorites, which always gets a lot of hate for some reason. I don't know if people are scared to do it or what, but a podcast. This is like the best networking tool you can use. So like you meet somebody at a conference, right? Oh, this guy was really interesting. He owns an excavation company. Guess what you're going to do, Havoc One Alpha? You're going to go and you're going to say, hey, I'm going to do a podcast. I'm just going to do you don't have to do it forever. I'm going to do a 1-season podcast. I'm going to record 5 or 10 episodes about current trends in the earthworks or earth moving industry, and give it a name. You can set up a podcast so easily. Get a microphone, get like a decent camera, or just use your MacBook for crying out loud. And then you email and say, hey, I'm starting this podcast, Trends in the Earthwork Industry. Tim, I met you. You're the president of this company. I'd love to have you on just to talk about some cool projects that you guys have been working on. Is there any neat technology that you've been using? Where do you see the future of this going? We'd just love to have a discussion. People love to be on that because it promotes them as like a thought leader, right? And they'll go on a podcast and they'll talk to you for an hour, right? And so now you have this person who would be your ideal customer. And even if you're not going to do business with them, they're going to now build a relationship with you and have that trust. And you are going to be seen on camera with them. And you get to just ask them questions about the earthworks industry and moving dirt. And hey, what is the biggest problems that you guys have? If you were just to call that person up after that conference and say, hey, Tim, can I have an hour of your time just to like pick your brain? They're going to be like, I'm busy, right? So there's nothing in it for them. But if you say, hey, I'm going to put you on my podcast, and we're going to put this out online, and I'll send you all the clips afterwards. You can put it on your website and make it look good for you. They're going to be like, I mean, I have rarely had someone turn me down when I've asked, hey, you want to come on my podcast and let's chat? And that's turned into so many good opportunities. Like you just build a relationship because now you feel more like friends because you've had a chance to talk for an hour. And then you click end on the podcast. You're both sitting there. And a lot of times you chat for 20 minutes afterwards. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, projects. They'll be like, oh, tell me more about your business. Like, what do you do? What's your work? Because it's a very non-threatening way for them to come talk to you because they're not like, oh, this person wants to get me on the phone to sell me on something. They're just like, oh, we're doing a podcast. And it's just a natural way to engage. So I'll get off the podcast high horse here, but it's got so many uses because you network with the guest, but then you also have content to put out on your website. And now someone comes to your website and they go, oh, this guy's interviewing the president of that, earthworks company. He is an industry insider. He must know what he's talking about. And like it elevates your status as a business owner, okay, as the person here. So you're putting yourself in the position of like more of an expert. So there's that way to do it. Cold calls, I don't like these. I don't do it myself. Some people have massive kahunas and they can just cold call anyone and get meetings and stuff. I guess it can work. I've never found it to be the super beneficial use of my time to do. I'm not saying it doesn't work. There are efficient ways to do it. There are complete businesses built around cold calling. Maybe I'm like too big of a weenie to actually make this work. So if you, let me know in the comments. Has anybody ever done successful cold calling? That's great. I prefer like at least semi-warm calls. So like I'll send an email to someone first, maybe 1 or 2. Maybe they respond and then they ghost me, right? At least I have some connection. So then I could call them and I could say, hey, Cindy, you and I were emailing back and forth. I just had a question about this thing. Call me back. I was wondering if, again, it's like you feel like if you have some big ask, it feels uncomfortable. But that's why I start off something non-threatening. Hey, I know, if it made sense for me to come out there, I just love to show you what this looks like. If you hate it, you don't have to ever talk to me again. But I just want to show you what this looks like for 15 minutes. Let me know if you'd be open to that. Or, hey, can I come on my podcast, right? So sometimes that works with the warm stuff. But normally I try to like get to know people in person first, or maybe have more of a friendly email exchange. And then I feel like that sort of opens the door to be able to call. But that's an option as well. So engage. Another one would be like social media content. Again, I've never been super good at converting social media directly into like customers. So I don't view this as like, I'm going to post on social media and then people are immediately going to come to me. I do know people that this works for where they'll do, let's say, a podcast, or they'll take their work to post on social media, like usually like IG, because this works on like the creative side more. If they're good and they post consistently, they build a bit of a following. People will reach out to them on IG. Oh, hey, actually, I've got this thing over here. Can you do this? Or, oh, hey, can I do this? There's a guy, listen to the Kevin Olson episode. He's like the Instagram master. He posts a lot on there and he just gets a bunch of businesses. So people do that and then they'll go to DMs. The guy I told you about who has the several $100,000 a year real estate media business, Dominic Wilkerson, he actually teaches our real estate media course. This is how he initially built his business, through IG. just kind of interacting with agents in like a non-salesy or threatening way, built some relationships. Somebody had an opening, like, hey, actually, can you do this? Sure. So this works. I generally use social media once I've dialed in more like my email outreach, podcast stuff. This is sort of where I like to stay, because this is a little friendlier, and this is a little bit like you can just reach out. You're not going to spam people, but introduce yourself. Email them. Hey, you don't know me, but here's who I am. Here's what I like to talk to you. Email them, once a week for a few weeks, then lay off. Maybe come back a few months later, try them again. You don't want to like annoy them, but there's just a way to reach out to them. You'll get some responses. But social media is really good if you've done that, to then have this present. If you're doing a podcast, you might as well just post it on social media. It doesn't take much extra effort. And again, it's just when someone is searching for you, they're going to look at your website, they're going to look at a couple other things, and they're going to land on your social media. Just a way for them to do some more research before contacting you, because people might not reach out until they reach a certain level of trust with you, that you're competent and that you know what you're talking about. So if you're reaching out, we do this a lot. Actually, we saw this. We'll reach out to people on email. They will not respond to us, but then we will see them go to our website. They'll go to our website, they'll consume content, they'll look at stuff. They might even sign up for things, still never respond to any of our emails. And then they'll consume content. And then later they'll be like, oh, hey, actually, yeah, I'd like to talk to you. And they never responded to like our initial outreach. So sort of these things sort of work in tandem, but that's what you're going to do. You're going to engage people. So you're going to meet them at conferences and kind of try to network in person, engage. And if you continue these activities, I know it sounds like a lot, but you can do this at whatever level you want. If you're going to go full-time, go all out and go crazy on all this. If you just want to do it part-time, maybe just do a little bit. Maybe you can pick one of these channels, and that's enough for you to get your part-time business going, right? Another one. Yeah, people are saying LinkedIn outreach. So like LinkedIn can be okay. I think LinkedIn, sometimes people are getting kind of cold to the LinkedIn like direct outreach strategy. LinkedIn has been very beneficial for me in just building relationships. If you're coming in there to be like, I can't tell you how many like DMs I get on LinkedIn that are like, hey, are you looking to do XYZ in 2025? Like, boy, do I have a thing for you. Like, I don't know you. I'm just never reading those. Okay. So like, come across as a human. But I normally just start off with like, I found so many instructors of ours on LinkedIn, and I usually don't even start off saying like, hey, do you want to be an instructor? Because I don't know them first. I don't know if I want to work with them per se, but I was just like, hey, we're thinking about doing this course. I've got a sample outline. Would you be okay if I like hired you for 30 minutes to just, take a look at it? Let me know what you think. Give me your feedback on it. And most of them are kind enough to like, you don't have to pay me. I'm happy to jump on a call with you. It starts that sort of call in a non-threatening way. We get to know each other. If it seems like it's a good fit and like, oh, they actually are really knowledgeable, maybe it turns into me asking them, hey, you want to be an instructor? So that's been very helpful on the, sort of me helping create product side. But you can post, again, this podcast content. You can post it on LinkedIn or repurpose it in some way. You can put that on LinkedIn, and you can have people reaching out to you. I do have people reach out to me on LinkedIn. I don't even put that much stuff on LinkedIn, asking me about, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? Or like, oh, do you know about this? So you can use LinkedIn as another way to attract people to you, almost like your website. Maybe other people out there have success with like the large DMs on LinkedIn. I haven't tried like mass direct messaging people, but you could try to do it if you did it in a personal way. Like, hey, I'm just reaching out. Here's who I am. I'd love to chat about this. Let me know. And I think that combination can definitely work. Okay. So that's the drone. That's the drone framework, right? So remember, you want to develop your skills and portfolio and foundation. You want to refine your niche. You want to then optimize that portfolio for your niche and increase your online presence. Then you want to get out there and you want to network with your target industry. And then you want to engage proactively with outreach to those prospects. So you have people coming in and you're going out, you're hitting both sides of the coin. Okay. And if you do this, I've never seen someone do this in a dedicated way and not make money. Okay. You will do this. You'll feel like, oh, this works. This doesn't work. You adjust. It's honestly, if you just stick with it, it will work. Okay. And you adjust and you figure out what people want. And then you make tweaks. You get in there. Actually, maybe this message didn't work. I'm going to try this. Oh, actually, it seems like this is the problem. So maybe I need to go over here and help people in this different way. You just, the more you understand your market, the more you can adjust what you want to offer, and the better it will be for the customers. Okay, real quick, I'm going to answer a bunch of questions. but I know it's already an hour in. So I want to tell you, if you guys are interested in the Drone to 1K thing, let me tell you about it real quick. Okay. And I'll do a quick overview. So if you want to launch and grow your drone business, a few resources that will help. So we have our Drone to 1K program. Normally it's $7.99. That's the regular full price. It typically, I'll walk you through in a sec. But it's got a nice guarantee on here too, where basically if you don't make $1,000 within 3 months, but you do everything that we have listed, you complete all those assignments, you just get all your money back and you can just keep the program. Okay. But let me show you what's inside of it real quick. And I'm going to give you guys a discount too. Every time we do a webinar, I always give discounts for people. But let me show you what is inside the Drone to 1K. Okay. So I just want to show you, have you see how it works. So week one, again, you can go in whatever order you want, but week one, we say quick wins and quick losses. There's always some type of flying assignment in there. So we have these videos where I walk you through, here's what to do. You're going to see a lot of my face. You're going to do your assignment. You're going to turn it in. We're treated like a class because we realized when we did the first iteration of this course, people would just like watch the videos, go through it, and they wouldn't actually like implement the work. So like, cool. So we're going to give you assignments. So you go through here, you fill this out and you complete the tasks. So you can have like a sense of like, all right, I did that. So we give you assignments every week. So here's Cody Retlick, your guest instructor here. So Cody's the guy. That's me. Cody is over. That's good. My internet's slowing down. Cody is over. Drum roll. Here. So this is Cody. Midwest Aero Productions. The multi-six-figure business owner with that. He actually acquired another drone service business provider. The guy was moving. So he like increased his business by like a third. So he goes through all of his strategies that he used to build his business. So we go through, it's called Quick Wins and Losses, teaching you how to get over some fear of rejection, just some small stuff on reaching out to people. Number 2 is creating your business identity. So we have a lot in here. If you don't already have like a business name and you don't know what structure to get, my actual CPA for my business and other drone businesses, he's like worked with other people there. AJ, I just talked to him the other day, he's still doing it. So he gives you advice on like business entities, how to create an LLC. We give you an operating agreement, like templates that you would need to set up your LLC, download that, how to set up your banking and all that stuff. So if you need help with that, literally it's all here step by step from a CPA, or if you need like a different kind of business, we talk about which states are good for that, how to get a business name, how to make sure it's not already copyrighted and trademarked, stuff like that. Next is becoming findable. So this is an important part. We talk about, again, every week we want you to fly. So you have a flight assignment. And then this is the start about, making sure that you know how to get found. So we talk about how to build a great website. We walk you through every tiny little aspect of building a website. What's the purpose of it? How to build trust, how to showcase and educate, how to build personal connection. Because everybody, like, they want to build trust. They want to see who you are. So we talk about how to do that, how to tell a little bit of your story. Again, we give you templates for that. Talk about the Google Business Profile, how to set that up in the best way. Then a lot of people overlook this. I didn't talk about this here, but once you get a business going, you do need some type of bookkeeping. So we just talk real basic about, some taxes, some good options for that. Wave Apps is a great free accounting software. So we get into that a little bit, how to do some drone insurance. So this is like the back office stuff. That's not quite as fun, but once you get a business going, you need it. But here's where we dive in with the Sales and Marketing Foundation. So this is teaching you about all the customer awareness cycles and how to identify where people are in that, how to identify the customer buying process, educating you about these are the foundations of sales and marketing. So you understand how this process works, what the customers go through, and how you can speak to them at different levels of their sort of buying journey. And then this is sort of that big outreach section. So we have Instagram reach out, LinkedIn outreach, email, phones, how to do different research. And then here are the new lessons. So there's literally like an hour and a half, like 5 hours maybe of new content here. This is what we just put in here. So these were live lessons that we taught to a group over like earlier this year. And this is all the email outreach without like being spammy. We talk about how to go through and we got all the class outlines here. So these like 9 PDFs, how to find, who the customers are, like giving them your offer, to find those contacts, sending the first emails. We literally give you the exact structure, examples, content. Then you can see the people who did this live with us. They're here talking about the next week we did it and like hey, here's what their results were and here's how it went. And we talk about, oh, this is the email you got. Cool. Here's how I would follow up with that opportunity. So we go through that again. You got the same email templates we went along with. Cody gave an actual example of, something that happened that week, how to follow up to these different replies, how to make sure that you're going to be able to, continue that process forward. And then again, that third one, we talk about doing email outreach in a way that's a little bit more on the back end of having an email list that you can nurture along the way. All right. So that's sort of the sales outreach. And then this is some more of that engaging of people in person. So, this is like all about the podcasting. I'm sorry. This is building a platform. So you can do podcasting. If you don't want to do a podcast, you can do like a blog, or you can do something else that doesn't maybe show your face. But we talk about what are the different platform options, content distribution, what to talk about, who to talk to, how to get people to say yes to like being on your show, how to ask them questions, some easy audio recording setups, like nothing too complicated. We give you stuff that you can buy down here, try to make it easy for you. We show you the software that we use that makes it very simple to do all this, editing your content in a super simple and easy way, and then getting people to see your stuff. And then this is the making the right connections. So if you're going to go to trade shows, working the booths, how to connect with event speakers. After the event, what do you do? How do you stay in touch afterwards? Which events to go to, and all that. So it's a very, very comprehensive course that me and Cody teach. And, it's been tested over 5 years, and we continue to make revisions and updates to it that you have access to it. So again, normally that's like an $800 course, because the goal is to get you $1,000 or more consistently. So the goal is once you're rocking and rolling, you make your money back, pretty quickly. And if you do all these steps, like if you do all the assignments and activities, and you don't make $1,000, which is more than your money back in 120 days, we'll just give you full refund, because I just want to give you stuff that works. I'm not trying to hawk stuff on you. I want to give you a system that works. And a lot of people, they just like to follow steps and follow a framework, and they're willing to do the work. So if that's you, we want you to do this. And if you're like, I don't think it's going to work, if it doesn't work, we'll give you your money back. Okay. And I promise you, you will have learned something along the way. All right. Quick couple comments from students in the past. All right. So I had a Facebook group when we first sort of launched this, and some other people. This was even in the first iteration, right? So booked my first drone job just now, 3.5 hours of work at $100 an hour. Awesome. They said, don't underestimate. So in the course we teach, hey, do some free gigs at first that can lead to paid work. So I recently went into a job offering for free, and then they paid me $250 today. This one was like, hey, I hit my 1K month for the month of July. Might hit it for August too. A lot of people are like, hey, thanks. This is great. This one was awesome. I said, what's the thing that's happened that you're excited about so far since joining the course? Someone said, I landed a paying gig with a commercial real estate company and had my first 5K month. These are all a lot of people's like first jobs. Hey, I've officially hit my first 1K mark this month. So people are going in there and actually doing it, and it worked. I think this one was this one was great. So this one, they said, I think this is the one I tell you about the engagement maybe, but did the Google My Business, got 3 calls, asked how much for the photo. The guy said $200. Then he met up yesterday to do a shoot and got paid $300. So just from the Google Business listing stuff. So it can work. I was going to show you some other stuff. So this is a database where we collect some information. So this was, late last year. This was the same person, one person. I know some of you guys are hating on drone job networks, but I think they got some of these from a drone job network, but not all of them. But this was just in 1 month, one of their early months. Now, these were even small jobs. They were just starting off, right? These are the amounts. And they have to submit like their actual validation documents, so we know they're not just like BSing us. But in just 1 month, 833 jobs, even using some drone job networks to be able to do it. These were some bigger ones we found. So we look over here. This one was mapping, so aquatic mapping. They got paid $1,200 for that. That was last year. And they said they got paid. Another one, aerial and ground shots of 5 storage facilities. They got paid $1,400 for that. They got paid. This one was $2,800 for a mapping site. They got paid. Another one was $2,150 for aerial and ground. See, they did some ground stuff too there. So there can be some bigger jobs too, when you're in here. So it does, I'm telling you guys, like you're maybe not going to make $100,000 your first year doing this, but there's money to be made here. Okay. Some other resources you might be interested in. We have like these like mini courses / workshops. So these are just the ones that are related to business, drone business that I wanted to tell you about. So we got utilizing AI in your drone business. This is a lot around like helping you create your own content, like for your website, and not just in like a boilerplate way. So how to do customer research with AI is super helpful. And then how to actually help create some of the content for your site or give you other ideas. Landing construction clients, that's taught by Root Patel. He also teaches our mapping course. He started off specifically in construction, and he talks about who you need to talk to, where to go, what to do for landing construction clients. Hold on. There we go. Social media growth for your drone business. This one is taught by, I believe, Kevin Olson, who is the guy who does all those side jobs with through Instagram and how he built that. How to price your drone services, getting real estate video clients. So this is a specific pitch you can do to like Association of Realtors if you're going to do real estate stuff. This one's by Jeremiah Oshwald. He was one of our original Drone 1K instructors. And that's how he got his first clients. He said he did this presentation. He actually taught real estate agents about how they can go do drone video and what the regulation process is, how to get airspace authorization, explained all this stuff. And then they were like, that sounds like a lot of work. I don't want to do that. I'm just going to hire you. Okay. And then the last one is landing real estate clients through Instagram. That's actually taught by Dominic Wilkerson, who I mentioned, who originally started off just getting his clients through like DMing real estate agents. So he talks about his process there. So here are the prices of all these sort of mini courses. They're usually anywhere from like 1 to 2 hours of video content in those courses. So if you were going to go out and buy all those individually on our site, that'd be $544. So the deal today that we're doing is all of these courses, right? Which would, if you were to buy them individually, would be $1,343. We always give discounts to people on the webinar. We only do these deals about twice a year. The last one I did was in January. And so now we're in June. So if you want to get in on this, we're going to do the Drone to 1K program, the full course with the lifetime access. So all updates that we do in the future and the guarantee. So if you don't make your money back in 120 days and you do all the work, give you a full refund. So $300 off on that. So it's $499. And this is for the people on the webinar. So if you get in before midnight Eastern, I'm literally just going to give you all these workshops for free included with that. Now I'll have to manually add those. So you have to wait, but maybe you'll add them tomorrow to see who got in before the deadline. So if you want that, I just made the link easy. It is 1kdeal.com. And that will take you to the checkout link with the code already applied. If the code is not applied, the code is just summer heat, because it is getting hot here in Florida. Summer heat, all one word. So this is good as deal till midnight tonight, Eastern time. So I would just say, if you're interested in this at all, and you're like, oh, I got to talk to somebody about it, or I don't know, let me think it over. Totally fine. I would just write down 1kdeal.com somewhere on a napkin, on a notebook. That you would have it. So if you're thinking about it, it's like 11 o'clock. Like, yeah, I'm going to do it. You can come back here and you at least have the URL there and you're good to go. So that's the deal if anybody wants it. If you just came here to hang out and talk about drone business, that's no problem. But if you do want to be serious about building the drone business and you want like a nice proven path that others have followed, I think this is a great program. We've put a lot into work into it over the years, tried to make it very helpful. So this is your opportunity to get in at like the largest deal that we offer. So you can get all that stuff for $499. And if you do get in, I would love you just say in the chat, like, I'm in, okay? So I know you're in, so I can say thanks, and I'll look for you on the back end, okay? That's the deal. All right. Now we're done with that. Q&A time. All right, so let's Q&A. We're going to talk about everything that you guys want. I'll leave this up so you guys can see this link if you need it. But we'll do Q&A now, all right? So if you don't have your Part 107, people are asking about Part 107 license. If you don't have your Part 107 license yet and you need to get that, we will do a half off of our Part 107 course for you. If you want to use our course, you can use any resources you want. But if you did want to use like a specific course, you can use ours. We have like a 7 days to certified plan that we do to help you pass in 7 days. So it gives you like a study guide, 1 hour to 2 hours of studying a day for 6 days. Then you go pass on day 7. Sounds fast. People have done it way faster than that. All right. Cool. All right. So Q&A, hit me with your questions, guys and gals. Let's see here. I'll look back for some questions. Sorry. No, the 120 days starts from when you get it. I got to be honest. Like, even if you take a little more, if you take longer than 120 days, I'll say this on the webinar, right? I won't put it in writing email, but you can. This is recorded. If you take longer than 120 days, I'm fine with that. It's mainly about, did you do all the steps and did you do the work to do it, and still did not make that money back. The only problem is I can give you all the information in the world. I can't force you to do the work. I've tried to make it easy with like assignments and templates and guidance and all of these different things. But just like anything, any business, it does require you actually going out there and implementing what you're learning. So, so if you do the work and we can see that you've done those assignments, then you get a full refund. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Sweet. All right. If you do sign up for this and you want half off the Part 107 course, email me. I'll put my email here, David at Drone Launch Academy, and tell me, and I'll get you hooked up with that. Drone Launch Academy. Sorry, it's hard to write with this pen. Okay, email me. All right. Sweet. Thanks. All right. I'm trying to get some other questions here. Okay. Other than DJI, is there a safe drone that's good? I don't want to buy a drone only to have it get banned. Well, if it gets banned and you already own it, they're not going to like make it to where you can't fly it. Your only risk would be like if you wanted to do like federal contracts, and then that federal contract, isn't going to work out well for you. I can't tell you how many times we've answered this question, or like people have asked it and we've looked and researched. There are great drones out there that are not DJI drones that you can use. The problem is they're all Swiss or American made, and that just means they're expensive because sourcing the components is harder, labor is more expensive. And so it just becomes a little bit more difficult to do. If I were you, I would still try to buy, if it were me, I would still try to buy DJI or buy it used, or just use what you've got. A lot of times people assume they need much more drone than they think they need more drone than they do. There's a lot of times you can get the job done with a much less expensive drone, and it's more about you as the operator. Like I know a guy, he crushes it with a lot of really, really good drone work, drone service business stuff, one of our instructors. And I was talking to him, he's like, yeah, sometimes when I have like small parking lot jobs where I have to do like map out a parking lot to do like planning work, he's like, I'll just use a Mavic Mini. He's like, why am I going to get a huge like Matrice 4T out there, or like a Matrice 4E to, I don't need a $5,000, $8,000 drone to fly this parking lot. I just throw a Mavic Mini up there and do the automated stuff, or just, so like even those people, they understand I just need the tool that's going to get the job done. So if you have a Mini 3, that can do most everything. Or if you've got like an Air 2S, that can do like good mapping work. Unless you're doing like tons and tons of acreage, then upgrade it. But if you have like a single construction site and you have ground control points and some other stuff, like let's say you're working with a survey team, you can use an Air 2S. Like you don't have to be ashamed of that stuff. Or if you have an Android tablet, you can use a Mini 3. And those are not that expensive drones. I like that job I told you about the other day, the $550 one. My buddy was doing it and he didn't have a drone available at the time. And he's like, hey, can I borrow your Air 2S? Sure. He took that, did the whole job. It was great, So yeah. To answer your questions, yes, Autel makes good drones. I don't know if they're on the risk for the chopping block or not. Autel makes great drones. As far as I have seen. Holy Stone are cheaper drones. I've flown some of those. I was not impressed by the gimbal stabilization or necessarily camera quality. Those are maybe a good like learner drones, maybe not the best for like doing work. But if you're going to do professional work, stick to like DJI or Autel. Then if you're going to get in the mapping world, DJI is also very good, but there's a lot of other drones like Whisper or Wingtra. I love Wingtra, but they kind of have a specific use case for like larger area mapping. And it's pretty expensive. So yeah, the gimbal does suck on the Holy Stone drone. Okay. Let me see. I'm sorry. Let me go back up here to my some of these questions. See if I can. Well, I'll answer this one first. Best drone to start with, I personally think Mini 3, not Mini 3 Pro, Mini 3, because, or Air 2S if you can get your hands on one, because they're good drones for like doing like cinematography type work. They can do 4K, shooting in 4K, but they can also be compatible with Drone Link, which is like a software you can use for flight automation for like mapping missions. Air 2S actually has a 20 megapixel image and a 1-inch sensor, so it's pretty good for like details for mapping work or 3D modeling, and it can do a lot. So I like those drones because you can do both. So you're not going to be limited like, oh, I decided I do want to do mapping stuff, so now I got to go get a different drone, because you need one that can do sort of like the flight automation tools like Drone Link. But if you have an Android tablet and you have a Mini 3 or an Android device, because the Drone Link for the Mini 3 will only run on Android. If you got those, that's like the best like starter combination in my opinion. Okay. I would say that would be the same answer to that question. And a Mini 3 is like $400, $500, something like that. And it's a nice drone. Let's see some other ones. Considering picking up a new Holy Stone as a cheaper alternative. Yeah. Yeah, we work a lot with schools, and we tell them to get Holy Stones for the students when they're learning to fly because they're cheap, and the students are 100% guaranteed to wreck the drone. And I can't tell you how many schools I've seen. They're like, yeah, we bought like a $1,200 drone. We got 5 of them, so we spent $12,000, or 10 of them. We got $12,000, and then we have 3 left because they flew them all into the trees and walls. We're like, oh, no, get like a Holy Stone, like a HS190. It's like $30, and it's like this little tiny guy. Build up the muscle memory. So that's not for you all, but I have a nicer Holy Stone drone over there. Actually, it's like their $200 or $300 one. And to be honest with you, I didn't think it was that great. I mean, it's good for like learning and stuff, but the gimbal, it was a 2-axis gimbal, so you could look up and down. But like if you're trying to fly forward, literally it looks like you're like, doing this. And I flew it at night, so I guess I was in low light, just around my like front yard. And the low light, not very good. I haven't flown it in like a lot of daytime conditions, but if you're doing professional work, I don't know if I would recommend that. Jay, the answer to this is Ted's schedule has been kind of crazy, so I'm waiting on him. He told me he has 1 more week left to finish his recordings, so that one should be. I think you're talking about the advanced 3D modeling course. So hopefully the live course is available. We can give you that, the one he filmed with us for the live class, but the final version should be available. Gosh, I hope soon. A little bit out of my control because I'm sort of dependent on his schedule. He had a he literally had the job to inspect the bridge between the United States and Canada at one of their largest border crossings. And so that was taking up a lot of his time. Okay. Don't you think knowing how to edit videos for real estate is important along with operating your drone? Yes, it is. For sure. I know people don't like this answer, but you can't outsource that. I think it's good to learn how to do it yourself, because if you ever get in a pinch, you need to know how to do that. But my friend who's got the really large company, he outsources all of his edits. So he's got a dedicated editor who he's worked with, and they've kind of agreed on styles, and they're overseas. So he does all of his shoots, uploads his stuff at night, sends it over to, I think he's in the Philippines. When my friend wakes up in the morning, all the photos are edited, all the videos are done, and he can deliver it to the client. So I do think that's important to do. There's so many resources out there on it. Like we've got a good course taught by Alex Harris, Aerial Video A to Z. Again, Dominic Wilkerson teaches his real estate course. There's so many videos. I mean, pick whatever video editing course you want. There's tons out there. There's YouTube, but I do think that's important to do at first, for sure. Let's see. Oh, we got a couple of these questions. Yeah, I answered that one. Yeah. When's it coming out? I hope soon, guys. I hope soon. If you want, email me. I can give you if you weren't a part of the live beta group that went through that, I'm happy to give you that one. So that's like a 2-hour course with Ted teaching all about similar topics. So I'm happy to give you that one if you don't have access to that, and you can go through it. But the full course, I hope, will be out soon. How can I score a job with drone launch as a 107 pilot? Nice. Well, we don't necessarily need like pilots for us, but spoiler alert, we are about to post a job for a part-time customer service person to kind of handle student emails and inquiries. So That should be coming soon. You can check. I think it's on Indeed, actually. So if you go over Indeed, you can apply to be like a very part-time, probably like 10 hours a week person on our team, if that's of interest to you. Oh, okay. Anzu Raptor RTK. Yeah, that's actually a good option. I know sometimes depending on the way the different bills are written, they're sometimes at risk of getting dinged too because some of their sourcing or relationships. But I do know that Randall, I haven't talked to him personally, but I believe we've had him on like a Q&A on our drone pilot community. And I've heard just from other people in the industry that know him that he is an outstanding class act guy. So maybe I'll meet him, talk to him one day. But I've heard that good things about that drone if you can get that. Let's see here. Do most solar jobs require thermal? Yeah. From what I know, if you're looking at like inspecting like solar farms, that's almost always, well, once the solar panels are installed, that is almost always a thermal job, whether you're doing like inspections, hotspots, making sure that there's no like current issues. Before they do the solar install, they will do like a topographic survey typically of the land, because they're going to have to like clear trees. It's like any construction site. They're going to have to clear trees. They're going to have to grade the land, do some civil engineering work, that kind of stuff. So typically there's drone flights beforehand, like on just photogrammetry basis or a LiDAR basis. And then after that, like the ongoing is thermal work. What are my thoughts on Busy? Start your LLC for free. Oh, I've never heard of that. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, starting an LLC is not like rocket science. It's just kind of depending on what state you're in, and you need an operating agreement typically to open up stuff with the bank. And but go for it. There's a lot of services out there that will charge you to start like an LLC. Most of them, in my opinion, are overpriced. And if it's free, nothing's free. You know what I'm saying? They say if it's free, that means you are the customer, right? So they're going to get you something else upcharge, or maybe it's free and they just count on certain people upgrading. I don't know. But I wouldn't pay someone else to start my LLC for me. It's a fairly simple process that you can do with your Department of State in your state. Let's see. What kind of editing software do you recommend? I've just always used Mac, so I've used Final Cut Pro. Premiere Pro is probably more of the industry standard. A lot of people like DaVinci Resolve because it's free, maybe a tiny bit less user-friendly, but it's got super good color grading. I used it a little bit the other day for something. So if you have no money, DaVinci Resolve. If you want to pay a one-time fee and be done with it, then I would go with Final Cut Pro. If you don't mind a subscription, but you have something that's maybe the most industry compatible, then I would go with Premiere Pro. Hopefully that's helpful. Is there a community to meet other drone operators virtually or in person? Yeah, this is not a plug for that, but we do have our Drone Launch Connect membership community. It's all drone entrepreneurs in there, and they constantly share business ideas. We have people come on for Q&As and try to help each other out. So you can check out Drone Launch Connect if you'd like. Otherwise, probably some like Facebook groups and things like that. All right. Is there an easy way to make mapping ops with Mini 4 Pro? I do believe that the Mini 4 Pro is now compatible with DroneLink. So the answer to that question is yes-ish. You do have to have the Android device or tablet, DroneLink, which is, there's a fee for that, but I don't think it's crazy high. And then you do your automated flight mission. You can get your images. You can get your images on there, like all your data, and then you need to process it through a photogrammetry software. So Pix4D Basic is usually a good option for people, somewhere around like $50 a month. Or if you just want to do pay as you go, you can do like a Maps Made Easy or Birdie. Those aren't quite as powerful of processing engines. Sometimes, like I had a guy, one of our students was trying to do a 3D model or even just a map of his like high-rise building close to the beach. He was having a really hard time reconstructing the roof because it was some kind of shiny, or maybe it was like an awning. And then I literally took his same data set and I ran it through Pix4D and it did it perfectly. So they're just not as good sometimes on the reconstruction. But if you have like a non-complicated surface you're trying to map, it can do a pretty good job. Why not Mini 4 Pro? Because Mini 4 Pro is more expensive. And in my opinion, if you're looking for an all-around drone, Mini 3 is going to get you a lot of what the Mini 4 Pro it gives you. Like, I don't see a ton of advantages with the Mini 4 Pro, especially if you're just starting out, but you could prove me wrong. The capital TP. I don't know what the capital TP is. Purchase a Mavic 4 Pro. Would you recommend me to get it? It depends. If you want to do a lot of like really good cinematography stuff, sure. It doesn't do any mapping, so don't get it for that. But if you want to like do really cool cinematography stuff, go for it. I might recommend like maybe if you're first drone out, I might recommend something more basic and less expensive. I just don't like people buying crazy expensive things to start off with and then realize I've seen so many people like buy really expensive gear being like, oh, I'm going to do this. And then they decide they want to go in a different direction or a different niche and they need something else. And now they're stuck with this like, several $1,000s drone that's not going to work for whatever purpose they need. Someone bought like a Mavic 3 Enterprise and they're like, oh, actually I want to do real estate video. And it's like, that drone's not very good for that. And it costs like thousands of dollars. So they got to figure out how to sell that and buy something else. So until you know the industry you for sure want to go into, maybe buy like a more versatile one that's less expensive. Sorry, I know I'm running about like 10 minutes behind on these here. Let me skip down. I did talk about the Mini 3. Let me see here. When's the next season of the podcast? Oh, that's right. Get on there. I don't have it teed up yet. We go out and collect submissions every once in a while, but yeah, if you hit a 1K month, please email me and let me know. And I can always just record the episode, and then whenever we release the full season, I can mix it in there. So how can you be in my podcast? Well, hey, if you've already hit 1K, email me. My email address is right there. I'd love to have you on right there. I'd love to have you on. You just got to hit the 1K limit. And because, we want people who've all like areas, right? So like, I'm just doing this as a side hustle. I hit 1K. You have something to teach someone who's just starting off, right? Because you've made that level. Some other people are making, I interviewed a guy on last season's podcast shoot doing real estate, and he made over $500,000 in the last 12 months. And I was like, dang. So I have that person. He's sharing a whole different set of instructions, and maybe they don't apply to someone who's brand new, but maybe that's helping someone that's kind of in the middle area there. Okay. Avata 2, fun drone to fly. A little bit limited on its use cases. Maybe not the best like first drone to buy, but if you're doing things where you're going to need FPV, not bad. Or you just want to have fun, right? Let's see. What other kind of questions we got? What is a good cloud platform for clients to view point cloud data? Well, typically, whatever you're processing it in will have like some type of ability to share. Like I've done it through Pix4D, Drone Deploy, Propeller. Those all have some like type of sharing option. If you want them to see like 3D models, Nira, N-I-R-A, is really good because it's very fast. And it's like they can visualize it easily and you can tag inspection data. So I would say 3D models, Nira. Otherwise, usually I actually like Pix4D Cloud. If you have a point cloud, you can load it up to Pix4D Cloud and then share it there. So I like that one, but typically whatever your processing engine or software is will have some type of like viewing and sharing option as well. Oh yeah, see, Jay mentioned the same thing. Let's see. Have you had a person that wants to use have you had a person that wants to do content for surfers? I've heard of that before, like some people doing that. Again, that would be one of those niche things where like I don't even make a full-time living off of that, but you could probably make money here and there doing that. I know people who like take drone pictures at car shows and they'll make, some money selling prints to people. And so yeah, that's kind of a niche thing, but it could work. Yes, this will be on YouTube. Way beyond 1K per month. All right, I like it. Sorry, roofing industry. Yeah, I didn't even talk about the roofing industry. Gosh, I forgot about it. Yeah, that's good. Well, actually, I did talk about it in the commercial roofing. In residential roofing, there's some opportunity if you want to, again, use the drone to like collect data, like mapping data to see which roofs may be damaged, and like selling leads to roofers. I've heard people having success doing that, but that involves you being like a pretty good salesperson and being pretty outgoing, because you're going to have to like go collect the data, figure out what roofs need replacement. Then you're going to have to go sell those leads to roofing companies and negotiate that. So that's going to require you to, be very comfortable with outreach and working up those deals. Am I serious about you being on the podcast and emailing me? Is that what you mean? Yeah. All right. What we got here? Actually, Metashape Pro. Oh yeah. Pix4D. Does it host non-native data sets? Like non-Pix4D processed ones? I think maybe. I'm not sure. I think you can import any like LAZ or any file. So I actually haven't tried to bring a non-Pix4D data set into Pix4D, so I'm not totally sure. Honestly, I just take your word for it. If we have an hour-long conversation and you actually haven't made money, I think I'll figure that out pretty quickly. I usually talk to you beforehand and like get some either I've had some really good liars on the podcast, but I've usually, when you start talking to people, I dig into your story. Like, okay, well, how'd you get it? And like, who was the customer and how did it go? And what did they pay you? And like, so unless you can fabricate like really lots and lots of stories, that'll usually get flushed out. I don't care. I don't need to see your 1099 though. All right. Oh, wait. Unless you're talking about not proving that to me for the podcast, you're talking about other people doing some stuff. Hey, nice. That's pretty sick. All right. Oh, WebODM. Yeah, I knew somebody, again, my friend who did the roofing inspection stuff. He used WebODM for a long time. It can be good. It's got some limitations. It can be a little technical to set up. But yeah, I've heard some good things about that if you can get that going. So, all right, everyone, we're closing in on hour 45 minutes here. But again, if you want to get in on this, this is good till midnight. This deal, we only offer it about twice, or only offer it any discount on it twice a year when we do webinars normally. So write down this link if you're interested. But it's been a joy to talk to everybody here tonight. I hope that many of you are going to be rocking it and get past your 1K per month mark, and then are able to join me on the 1K podcast. So, all right. Thanks so much, everyone. I hope you're having a great rest of your night, and we'll talk to you later.